Live?
We're live.
What's
We're
up,
doing
Al?
live. This is Al live on the mortgage show with a teenager.
That mortgage show. Yeah, dude, I need my headphones and my microphone and all that stuff to take people's to take people's attention off the fact that I'm like a 12-year-old
Yeah, but you've been a 12-year-old since
since I was 12.
12 years old. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I think people are
let's get
used
on
to
with
it.
the
Nobody's
show.
like, oh my God, he doesn't have headphones on. Look how young he looks. Most people are like, there he is. That's our guy.
Now I think it's more of like
Still
a,
looks
oh
like he
my
couldn't get into a
God.
bar.
You say, oh my God, look how young. I hear what they're probably saying is, oh my God, look how young he is.
Uh-huh. Guy probably gets ID when he goes in to buy a can of Skull, pack of cigarettes.
What say you there, Alvin? Another week of the mortgage business done, wrapped up, behind us. Just a couple
Mm-hmm.
more hours here till it's Friday at 5. Everybody living for the weekend, weekend warriors out there. Let's get into some what's your rate?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff going on, some stuff to talk about. I think that maybe don't need to talk about rates being high. Maybe talk about what's going on in the on the economic calendar and stuff. So this past week, new home sales report came out for September, and new
Yeah.
home sales rose at their quickest pace since early 2022. Um, the increase in sales came as a shock to many. A lot of people see the interest rates and think that there's nobody buying houses. Well, new home sales climbing at its highest pace since early 2022. I think it has a lot to do with these are new home sales, so they're new
Not your
builds, new
existing home.
construction.
Yeah.
Right. So these are your builders out there who are building houses and want to get them off their plate, and they're giving crazy incentives. A lot of these builders that own their mortgage company, like Ryan Homes owns NBR, and DR Horton's a popular one down here in Florida. They own a mortgage company that's completely awful, but they give crazy interest rates and crazy incentives, $30,000 in closing costs. So that they're keeping things going. These builders, and then the other side of the coin is that mortgage applications overall for purchases, although new home sales were up in September, this week, a little contradicting information here, but this week, um, so a little more focused on the here and now rather than September. This week, mortgage applications fell to the lowest point that they've been since 1995. Um, and so, is it hot? Is it cold? Two very different stories. I think that overall, if the new builds weren't strong, the housing market would be completely crippled and destroyed, and maybe we'd be seeing some values pull back. But because of the new home sales, I think values
Yeah.
are holding strong, which is, I guess, a good thing. And then
Yeah.
last thing I want to talk about, jobless claims came out yesterday, and we saw a little bit of a pullback in the bond. The bond came down a little bit off of its five something high, and came down a bit. So we saw a little bit of price improvement yesterday. Jobless came in a little higher than expected. So more people are claiming unemployment than
Mm-hmm.
expected. So rates kind of pulled back a little bit.
Yeah.
I think really it's just razor sharp. Any little tick here or there could affect the rates. What are you
Yeah.
seeing now?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I mean, watching the T-bill this week, it's kind of it like here's five, right? And it just kind of it's just
Yeah.
hovering around there. It hasn't quite hit five, I don't think yet, right? It hasn't hit five yet. Um, but so as far as rates go, yeah, it's basically the same that it's been. They crept up to eight, right? And I think that's pretty much where they're holding. Maybe it got down to like a touch below 8.799, something like that is what we were seeing. Great point about the new home sales, right? I mean, people are inventory's low, rates are high. You don't want to get into a bidding war and have to pay more for a house, and you spend a long time looking for something that you're going to pay a bunch of money on, and you're like, I don't know if I feel like doing that. So people are like, what the hell? Might as well just get something exactly the way that I want it, not have to worry about renovating or doing any updates or anything like that. It's unwrap it and live in it. So um, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. And then the incentives that these builders are giving, you know, hats off to them, right? To get people into homes and to keep things somewhat stable. You know, um, obviously people like us, it's tougher to compete with that. Well, they kind of have a unique way of giving incentives and kind of hiding in a different place.
Yeah, right.
But regardless, getting people into houses, right? So hats off to them. Keep the industry, keep it hanging on, right? Keep it hanging on. So jobless claims, I don't know, man. People are unemployed. Tough to
With
find
more
jobs.
people unemployed. Yeah, but it's like, but on a weird way, it's what the Federal Reserve, it's what the policymakers want to see to make them feel good about inflation.
Right.
So it doesn't hurt enough. We got to make it a little bit harder for people. It's kind of the way it feels. Yeah,
Yeah, sink
yeah,
them in a little bit deeper, right? Don't give them any reason to take a deep breath, take a gasp, come up for air. So, but enough of the negativity. Try to keep it positive.
try and keep it positive. Try and keep it light. I got a baby here that's cooing and calling. You hear him? I might as
Yeah.
well just bring him into the show.
Am I frozen?
No, you're not frozen. You look,
Okay.
you're good. All right, so here we go. Uh, moving on. Next segment
Next segment.
is
Niche.
niche. We're bringing it back. We need to do better at niche, but this week I just kind of wanted to keep it vague and just talk about self-employed people trying to buy houses. If you're self-employed, first and foremost, let's start foundation. Al, if you're self-employed, can you get a mortgage and buy a house?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love it.
Okay. What so typically, what are we looking for as far as employment history or tax returns are concerned?
I mean, you're going to need tax returns. Probably going to need 2 years of tax returns, right? We're going to need 2 years of tax returns. We've got to average that income out.
Right,
You can't have, one terrible year. So here's the thing, which is pretty unique, is, you have to average out those 2 years. And if 2 years ago you had a banger, right? You had a fantastic year. But then last year, it was a down year. It was rough. It was terrible. The bad news is they're just going to take that last year. They're not going to take your good year, right? So they're just going to base your income off of the bad year. If you had like a steady, 2 years ago you had a decent year and last year you actually knocked it out of the park, then you're going to average it out, right? So that's pretty much how the income's calculated. You're going to need tax returns, but there's some unique things. Just because your bottom line number, doesn't look great, certainly doesn't mean that you can't get a loan, right? Nav, you got a
right.
great example of that right now.
Yeah, so it depends how you file your taxes. Self-employed people, there's many different, there's S corp, there's Schedule C, there's
Mhm.
K1s, 1120s. So it depends on how you calculate your income. And what I would say is, first and foremost, if you are self-employed, talk to someone like Al or I who can gather the proper documents, calculate the income. It's not rocket science. There's sheets and calculations that we follow. Right now, the folks that I have that Al is talking about are Schedule C. So these are just someone who runs, you run your own small business, you probably a Schedule C. If you're a contractor, you probably have a Schedule C. Um, if you're not taking distributions, but you're running the business and maybe paying yourself out of the business, it's going to be most likely be a Schedule C. So on your
Business and
Schedule
all.
C,
Yeah.
on your Schedule C, you've got line items in your tax returns, and if you look and you see at the end of the year, oh my goodness, it looks like we made $10,000 last year. Well, that might not be the whole story, and there's line items on those tax returns that we can write back in as income. The biggest one is, speaking of Schedule C, the biggest one is amortization and reoccurring business expenses. So if you think that you are self-employed
Depreciation.
and depreciation. Yep, yep, yep.
You said amortization.
Oh, my bad. Depreciation and reoccurring business expenses. Thank you for correcting me. So, if you're somebody who's self-employed and you think, oh, I don't show enough income, have somebody look at it,
Yeah.
and they can at least tell you and confirm for you. Um, and then you can plan in the future. Everybody kind of plays this game where they don't want to pay taxes, but you can't have your cake and eat it too, sometimes. Now, on the other hand, if you're self-employed and maybe you make a ton of money and maybe you aren't your expenses aren't stuff that we can write back in. We do have bank statement loans for those self-employed people where we take
Yeah.
12 months bank statements, look at the deposits, and calculate income out of that. So either
Yeah.
way, if you're self-employed and you've either been denied or think you can't, let us take a look. We've got
Yeah.
solutions for you.
Great point. That's a great point. And chances are when your tax person's doing these, doing your taxes, unless you're doing them yourself, if your tax person's doing them, they have an idea. They know what for a mortgage, what's needed and what you can write back in. And then the second point, a lot of times we'll do loans for folks and you ask for something and they're like, I don't want to. Why do I need that? I shouldn't need that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Just trust us. If we ask for it, we need it. We're not including anything that we don't need into the loan, but we need to have everything up front so that we can make sure that you can get qualified for the loan, that we don't go through this process for nothing. And then if the underwriter needs it, we can, provide it in the loan, right? But gathering that documentation up front is definitely necessary. So if we ask for it, we need it. Trust us.
Right. I don't want to ask you for anything,
No.
but
We don't care how you do your taxes. We're not the IRS. Could not care less what you write off, what you don't write off, what you actually make, and what your bottom line says. Doesn't matter in the least, right? Keep more for yourself. All about that. Love that. Obviously, everybody's got to pay their due, right, to live in the greatest country in the world. But yeah, we could not care less how you do your taxes. It's just a matter of what we can show and what we can get you qualified for. So.
it's just numbers. It's just X's and O's. So, and greatest country in the history of the world, I might add.
And
Uh, Before we move on to the next segment, hot takes. I'm gonna warm up this kid's bottle.
mm, Vince.
Hey, Vinny,
This
say hi to
bottle
the
warm
viewer.
up brought to you by Vincent DeSantis. And you'll notice that he's a little excited right now, right? He loves looking at the screen. Look at him. Can't keep his eyes off the screen. You're probably wondering, why is he so infatuated with Uncle Al? Well, there's probably a pretty good reason for that. He's staring at his godfather. He's so excited. He has not met his godfather yet, but he's extremely excited to meet him, right?
He's
We say
heard
there, boy,
stories of the Godfather.
huh?
He's heard stories of the Godfather.
As he should. Well, let's keep him within reason, right? We don't want to let's not blow me up too much and make it one of those things where you never want to meet your hero. You know what I mean? Because you're just
Uh-huh.
going to be let down. Um,
Yeah.
but by the same token, your other son told me that I couldn't be a ninja because I'm too loud and I say bad words. So
Is that the best thing ever?
both are very, very true. Can't argue that.
All right, so we're back. Maybe we can knock out this segment, and then that bottle will be worn. Aaron is back to work. Womp womp womp. All right. Hot take. Al, you want to take the first hot take?
Hot take, hot take, hot take. Yeah. So, I've talked to folks in the past who think that there's some sort of benefit, right? That there's this huge benefit to working with one of the big lenders that you see on TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
That are showing commercials that have stadiums or arenas named after them. It's just not the case. You're not going to get any better quality of service. You're not going to get any kind of better terms, experience. The truth of the matter is not all of them operate this way, but we've heard horror stories from people who work with a bigger bank or lender, and you kind of get passed around, right? You have somebody that starts the process and talks to you, and then it gets passed to the processor, and then that's your point of contact, and then it goes into the closing department, and that's your point of contact, and it's tough to navigate that and get the answers that you want. Whereas when you work with us, right, or a smaller, just because you're working with a smaller organization doesn't mean you're getting less quality of service. And if anything, it means you're getting better service, because we literally hold your hand throughout the entire process, start to finish. And even after the process is over, we're the ones that are going to follow up with you once rates come down to put you in a better position. The bigger banks just aren't going to do that, right? If you go directly with a bigger bank or lender, chances are they're not going to reach out to you when rates come down. They'll wait for you to reach out to them, because they are more than happy with you paying a higher interest rate. So work with who you feel comfortable with, and really whoever the hell you want to, but just keep that in mind, that you're not going to get some sort of, there's no benefit to working with one of these larger companies. Truth of the matter is that we broker 99% of our loans, and a lot of them we put through the bigger lenders, right? It's just that personal touch that you get from working with us. The terms and everything are going to be the same, if not better, with us. So
It's a great hot take. It's definitely one of the biggest objections or hurdles that we have to get over with our clients, because we are a smaller operation as compared to, a Rocket Mortgage or United Wholesale or whatever, those big lenders out there. But you're right. You're 100% right. And it should be common sense. Look, if you go to Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Rocket Mortgage directly, you're one person walking into a giant operation. You're a number, and you're going to get bounced around. It's not much different than calling Comcast and trying to argue your phone bill. It's just
yeah,
this guy, that guy. They're very compartmentalized. Okay. So there's that. When you work with somebody like us, yeah, you might end up with their same lender, but you're going to get better service because it's our livelihood. You matter to us. We are independent. We are paid differently than those folks at a Rocket Mortgage.
yeah,
A lot of times they go quantity over quality. Different way of doing the business. Fantastic hot take. I would love to go on and on about that. Hey, let
yeah,
me check this bottle.
yeah. And actually, just to continue, I'll add checks on that bottle. The other thing is that when we do this, we're trying to provide as high a level of service as possible, because we want referrals, right? We work for referrals. If we do a good job for you, we're hoping that you're going to feel comfortable passing our information along to your friends, family members, when they're in the same position, looking to buy a house or refinance, right? So, if you do feel that way, please pass that information along. We can send you giant magnets that you can stick to the side of your car and just drive around and advertise for us. Go ahead and post us on social media, follow us, share us, like us. Send us Christmas cards. Stay in touch. That's the kind of stuff you get with us.
Don't you want to work with a face and a name? Anyway, so my hot take, not entirely different from yours, um, along the same thread of like who you're going to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, our industry is extremely competitive, and it just keeps getting more and more competitive. What I would say is a lot of times people will, and hey, this goes back to why we named our first segment "What's Your Rate?" Because people will call us and they'll just go, "What's your rate? What's your cost? What's your rate? What's your rate? What rate are you offering?" Rate is part of it. Rate is a piece of it. Rate is not everything.
Yeah.
And if you're working with somebody, if you're shopping, you're undoubtedly going to get reached out to by folks like us. Um, what I would recommend is keep it to, your initial conversations. Talk to two or three people. Talking to 10 people, your head's going to spin and you're not doing yourself any justice. We're all within a quarter of a point, 3/8 of a point.
Yeah.
Um, when you're
I'd say
talking a
less than that.
$400,000 loan, probably
Quarter the
less than that.
most that you're going to see the
Yeah,
difference. Most of the time, it's an eighth of a point, if that, or a couple $100 in cost for the same rate. So,
right. And then somebody will jump up from time to time with a crazy rate that's beating everybody else in the market. Well, anyway, it's not always about rate. This is a service that we're providing. It's a process that has um, a lender, potentially two real estate agents, a buyer, a seller, a title company, an appraiser. Um, you've got the loan officer, the processor, the underwriter. So there's a lot that goes on. Work with people that first and foremost you trust will get the job done. And if you don't personally know someone like Al or I, talk to people on the phone for 10 minutes and
Yeah.
be a judge of the character of the person. Ask them some questions.
Yeah.
And then, that's we really, not to get too like gushy or whatever, we really do try and hold ourselves accountable and be forthright and just hold ourselves to a standard. Our industry doesn't always get a great name, so we have to battle that, and the way that we choose to do that is trying to be upfront and honest and transparent.
Yep.
But I tell people all the time, over rate, make sure you're not getting screwed on rate, because there's
Yeah.
places out there that'll do that. But once you do your due diligence and you find, all right, these guys are kind of where everybody else is, it should come down to trusting and liking the person that you're choosing to work with. Over
Yeah.
rate. What's $20 a month, especially if your loan doesn't get to the table and you lose your $5,000 EMD? Was it worth $20 a month? There's a
Yeah.
million different things that can go wrong. Take that into consideration too. That's my
That's a
hot
great
take.
one. I love that. Great, great, fantastic hot take. Now, the only thing I would disagree, well, not disagree, but the only thing I would say, a little caveat there, is unless you get some sort of ridiculous sweetheart deal that is unbelievable, and obviously that's something you want to make sure you do your research on, and you should be working with somebody who is honest and straightforward enough to tell you, if you're working with somebody else, then and you send them, a loan estimate from a different company that has just an insanely different rate that you wouldn't think is possible right now, they should have the common courtesy to let you know, hey, it is real, and I would love the opportunity to work with you. But if that's a real deal and that's from a legitimate organization, then you absolutely have to do it, right? So, we have that level of professionalism and respect for the people that we work with that we'll let you know if we can't, beat the deal significant. If we're not, if it's a much better deal, by all means, you got to do what's best by you and yours, right? But again, to your point, Ab, if it's like $100 in the overall cost of the loan, and you have no idea who that person is, and this is a friend of yours that you've been working with on the loan, you know, why would you make that jump? I mean, that doesn't make sense, right? So,
Especially, and the sweetheart deal, I'm totally with you. We'll be, I tell friends all the time, like, I would be a bad friend if I made you work with me and it was a significantly bad
yeah.
deal. My deal was bad compared. But that's 1 in 10. That's 1 in 100. We are
I was just
extremely
saying, yeah, one
competitive.
in 100. It's very rare that somebody is going to beat our rates or costs, that significantly, right? And a lot of times it's just how the loan's structured. So you'll see the costs look different for whatever reason, in certain boxes, and you think that you're getting charged more or things that you shouldn't be paying for, and it's basically, it's structured, the loan's structured a different way because there are different ways you can do that. So that's something else to keep in mind there.
That's another reason to to deal with people that you trust, because the paperwork can be convoluted, the numbers can be shuffled. So, and even if I've done it before. And as much as I wish I got the business, I've done it before where where somebody's like, "Hey man, can you check out this loan estimate for me?" And I'll look over it and I'll say, "Oh, they're hiding this fee, that they're screwing you."
Right.
Or, you know what? That's pretty solid. And if it's locked, run with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that we definitely come from that place. It's rare that we're very competitive with rate and cost, so it's
Yeah.
rare that we're getting beat on that. But if we are, we'll let you know.
Yeah. Love
Um,
that. Well said.
cool, great hot takes today.
Hot take.
All right, what are we doing for? What are we wrapping the show up with?
So we're gonna do our top six, top nine with a guest, but top six when it's just you and me, and we're gonna go with Halloween movies.
Ooh, we doing a draft
Halloween.
style?
I don't know if you could go draft style. I mean, we would need we would need a bucket to pick from. We would need a list to pick from if we were going draft style. I think because
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
different types of, some people don't like the slashers and the gashers and the jump out scary stuff, right? Some people are more family oriented, so we'll just go back and forth with our top three each
All right, in no particular order.
in
Go
no
first. What
particular
do you
order.
got?
In no particular order.
In no particular order.
I'm taking it back to the classics. I am terrified of scary movies. I'll be the first to admit. I'm not watching Halloween, right? I'm not watching any of these like The Conjuring or Slender Man or whatever. I'm just not doing it. I hate them. I'm terrified.
I
I'm
don't
a
want to. I don't want to
35-year-old
open.
man.
I don't want to open those vortexes into my house. Bring those evil spirits into this
Yeah,
place.
I don't need those thoughts, right? I got enough in my life. I already turn out the lights and sprint up the stairs in my own house and look behind myself and like jump when I get to a certain corner just in case a blade comes underneath, right? To get one of my feet. I don't need anything more than that, right? I already do these things. So
I turn off if a commercial comes on for like a new scary movie. I turn off the TV or change the channel.
110%. I don't even want to see that. I don't even want to see that.
All right. Having said that,
one of our friends sent a trailer in a group chat. Refused to watch it. Not doing it. Not watching it. Not even watching a trailer. So with that being said, Ernest Scared Stupid. It's a classic. You gotta love it.
You
right?
love Ernest. Good pick.
With the troll stealing souls. I mean, how can you not love Ernest Scared Stupid? It's fantastic. It's a I mean, we grew up with it. So
If you were Ernest, if he grew up and became a loan officer,
pretty much, yeah, more or less.
You're Ernest if Ernest didn't find acting.
I'll take that.
That's a really good one. That's a good one, and I can vouch for that. That was on at Al's house quite a few times.
Yeah.
All right, my first pick, and I guess this is my favorite, or at least it's. I don't always like sit down and like make it a point to watch Halloween movies during Halloween like you would at Christmas.
Yeah.
But one movie that if I get the time and I remember, I always watch Halloween, Donnie Darko. It's one of my favorite movies.
Man, what a great one.
It's one of my favorite movies, regardless, but definitely Halloween. That's a go-to for me.
And the song, right? I mean, the song in it we've been listening to since college.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Mad World? Is that what it is?
Yeah. We had a clip that made the clip of your montage to Mad World, or your monologue.
Yeah. Great, fantastic.
And the scene where the kids are getting out of the bus and it's upside down and it spins around as they're jumping out of the back of the bus, and it's to the whole soundtrack is incredible. It's like 90s. It's like 90s emo, or I'm sorry, 80s emo. It's just great stuff.
Jake and Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Lazy's in there.
It's just, and you don't really know. It's a great, like, you at the end of the movie, you're not even sure what the hell you just watched. I love that. Yeah. It's not scary, but it's kind of creepy.
Yeah. Shut up. Yeah, it's good stuff. So second on my list, this is tough. I thought about another movie actually when you just said that. But it's not really a Halloween movie, so I can't go Halloween. So taking it back to the classics, okay? Because I'm a nostalgic person and I love the things that I've always loved, and I don't like anything new. Get off my lawn. Hocus Pocus. Fantastic. I mean,
right? Yeah.
Classic, right? Everybody loves Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus is absolutely incredible. It has to be the best one.
Yeah. Now, that being said, I have not watched the new one because I think that when you have a great thing, for the most part, leave it alone, right? Don't try to make a modern one. I have no idea what the new one's about. I have no idea what they did differently or anything. I just refuse to watch it because I know I'm going to be disappointed. I love the first one. I don't want anything to take away from that. So just the first one, isolated, nothing to do with the second one.
Love Hocus Pocus, amazing movie. I'll watch that with my kids at some point. My second pick is more of the slasher type. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Ooh.
I Know What You Did Last Summer. Scary, creepy, just iconic. Jennifer Love Hewitt, that whole crowd. Great time in movie history, I think. Paul Walker, maybe?
Philippi. You love Philippi. You've always been a big Philippi guy.
I've never been that guy's he plays the jerk really. Yeah.
No,
the tough guy that you know. Yeah.
Freddie Prinze. It's Freddie Prinze, isn't it?
Freddie Prinze. Yeah. It's just such a solid movie, and just
great.
the fisherman with the hook, he's killing people. The villain is like absurdly good at sneaking around and it's like because it has superhuman strength, but it turns out just to be some freaking spoiler alert. It turns out to be some dude that like should have drowned but didn't and ended up trying to kill the kids that almost accidentally killed him. But
Yeah.
you've got teens. They're getting 1 minute they're getting chased by a murderer, and the next they're making out.
Yeah.
I mean, who's making out? It's just, but it's just great.
Not going to the cops, of course, because they can't let it come out that they hit this guy with their car. If you haven't seen it, I mean, grow up, right? I mean, it's been out for years. Don't get mad at us for ruining it. But the other thing too, right? This guy's just a normal fisherman, right? He's got his hook that you like carry like the ice blocks with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, after getting hit with the car, he gets this amazing ability to be a serial killer and to hide in the shadows and kind of lurk around and break into places and murder people with the hook. I mean, that's not something that you would think that just happens. Like maybe he was always meant to be a murderer, just looking for a reason, right? Got hit by a car.
And you know what? Kids being kids, who hasn't hit a freaking grifter with your car and thrown him in the river? I mean, it's
right?
just,
I mean,
the tale as old as time.
That kind of stuff happens. And then a great tie into that scary movie, which it could definitely be on the list, right? But just a fantastic movie that spoofs that.
It's not on your list?
It's not on my list, but I love that movie, and that cracks me up. Just that being,
So we'll go out of order. That was my third pick. Scary Movie.
Should have known that. I should have known that because we've watched it probably 8 times together. But yeah, that's a great one. It's fantastic. It didn't quite make my list, right? I have a standard, I guess you could say.
You chose to mention. It was honorable mention that you chose to mention before draft picks 5 and 6 were revealed.
So what's your tried to take a shot, ricocheted. Give me a break.
All right, so my draft pick and the 5th draft pick officially, Scary Movie, just so good, such a spoof, so awesome. The opening scene, you've got what's her name running through the yard and he stabs her breast implant. I mean, come on, it's like it's a great spoof, and it's like it's the silliness of like who did Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Oh God, who did it? I have no idea who did it.
He did Spaceballs.
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks.
Oh, I didn't know he did Robin Hood Men in Tights. Yeah, Mel Brooks is the best with the spoofs. The best ever with the spoof movies.
And Scary Movie had those vibes, which I very much appreciate.
Oh yeah, but again, another one that the first one was amazing, one of the best, and then after that got terrible.
Scary Movie 2's okay. They're all okay.
I mean, now you're getting a little crazy. I think the first one was great, and then 2 maybe okay, and then the rest of them were. So this is tough for me for the last one. A movie that was on at my house all the time when it came out, and then obviously around Christmas or Halloween was I'm kind of torn between 2, so I'm going to give both of them. Nightmare Before Christmas, right? Which I don't know if it's a Halloween movie, but I'm a big Jack Skellington fan, right? Love Jack Skellington.
What's this?
The Oogie Boogie Man. It's all just
super creepy movie. I've actually never watched it through. It just creeps me out.
I saw it in theaters when I was I can't remember how old I was, but yeah, classic. And then also Sleepy Hollow. It's got to be up there. Love Sleepy Hollow. That was on a lot.
Ichabod Crane. The story is just it is Halloween.
Yeah.
The guy has a freaking jack-o'-lantern as a head. And what's his name? It's actually a really entertaining movie. I love that movie.
Yeah,
I love that pick for you because I can close my eyes and we're in your basement watching it on your.
Oh yeah, that used to be on repeat at my house. Love that movie.
And Johnny Depp, right?
Johnny Depp.
Yeah, he's so good.
I can't remember who played the girl, but yeah, Johnny Depp, fantastic. Oh, Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken was the Headless Horseman too, with the spiked teeth. When you actually did see his face, like real sharp teeth. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with any of those picks. I know the freaks are out there like, how can you not pick Halloween for Halloween? Because I don't like it. right? I don't like seeing people get stabbed a bunch, right? Chased
Yeah.
around, you know. I caught a couple scenes when I was younger because my brother is the biggest scary movie watcher in history. Has seen every scary movie, loves scary movies, made me watch all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, all the
Yeah,
Friday the 13th, and
he's
I
a
just
freak when it comes to scary movies.
the,
He
the
is the
yeah.
ultimate.
So
I
I
hate
am,
him. I'm right with you. I don't even like the Halloween decorations that are anything but sweet and silly. Like the whole like we there's a guy on my block that has got dead bodies like pressed up against his windows like they're trying to break out of his house and stuff and blood everywhere and it's like dude, what do you wish you could do in your real life?
I don't know. I
Decorating
I
your house
kind of
like that.
appreciate. I respect that. I appreciate that. Crazy. I like people that go all out on the Halloween decorations. There's some cool ones. I mean, there's some that are over the top, but like I took Dew. Me and my son went to Spirit Halloween. Just walk around, and he was terrified. Awful idea. Probably scarred him because I walked by like the things that were like you know what I mean, or like twist the
Yeah,
head.
one of them was like 6 feet tall, comes out like this, and he goes, "I'm gonna eat your soul."
Yeah.
And like Dominic, for the next week, is like, "See what he eat my soul." It's a little much. Give me a witch. Give me some witches flying around, flying. Give me a witch flying across the moon decoration, and
You're very
maybe
baseline. You're very baseline decorative. Skeleton, right? Just a skeleton out
I don't
there.
even not even a big fan of skeletons. Not even a big fan of skeletons. I'll take a demented cat, a witch flying across the moon. I draw the line at werewolf. If werewolf is the line that I draw, you go werewolf, you go above werewolf, I'm out. You're a creep. You're into some weird sadistic stuff.
All right. I'll give you that. So anybody out there that has a werewolf in front of their house, you're freaking weird. You know that? You're weird.
Werewolf is like, ooh.
Okay,
And
you're kind of
but one thing where that I do think is great, and I remember from our childhood Halloweens, um, every neighborhood has to have a guy running around with a chainsaw with the chain off.
oh yeah.
If you
Yeah.
don't have that guy in your neighborhood, you're in the wrong neighborhood. And look,
Yeah.
maybe I'll have to become that guy for my neighborhood.
I think you should become that guy for your neighborhood. And then you have like the you have the scary the haunted houses. Like I'm not even really doing haunted houses to be completely honest. I just don't want to feel scared, right? I don't want to feel scared. I don't want to be chased. And you have these people that have to like sign waivers to go into some of these things because you could have a heart attack or you could get hit with something or get attacked, right? Like who's doing that? Unless they're in a real life or death situation, why would you ever want to feel that? Like I'm going to try to kill that person if they do that, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. So when I was 16, 17, I loved it. But then I started getting older, and especially like the Haunted Woods or Jason's Woods or that stuff. You first a couple things. All right. One, it's like at some point it's like get out of here.
Right?
And you don't want to be that tough guy, but it's like that's your instinct. Like
Sure.
I don't want to be touched out of nowhere and not be able to do something about it. It's not fun. But the scarier thing than the scariness is all of the electricals that go in. They're not getting inspected properly. These people setting them
Oh
up.
man, have
God
pulled
bless them.
permits.
I'm pulling permits. Look, nobody got any permits signed. It's a pop-up Halloween thing. They got to make as much money as possible in the month that they're up. It's usually in an old rickety barn. There's a lot of fire hazards, and there's not many exits. It's not well lit. That is way scarier to me. You're in those rooms. You don't know where you're going. There's no kill switch where all the lights come on and every. It's a free for all. This place catches on fire. That's the true horror for me. I don't want to get caught in one of those places if there's a stampede or a fire. Look, all the fake cobwebs and all, the hay, it's just a fire hazard. And then you've got the strobe lights, and those strobe lights are connected to extension cords. This is what I think about when I'm in these houses.
Hold
So
up, but
that's
you're going to
scary.
go to a carnival and you're going to get on the Ferris wheel, and you don't think carnies are cutting corners?
Yeah, so that's a good extrapolation, and I don't think differently when I'm at those places. I'm definitely looking the people up and down and seeing who they're affiliated with. If it's a carnival rolling into
They're
town,
affiliated. What do
Yeah.
you mean who they're affiliated with? They're carnies. They come, they get paid minimum wage,
You
they
know how
set
many?
up, they tear down. Like, that's it. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's their job, right? Like, I don't know how you know
Yeah.
who they're what operations are better than others. I don't know how much you've deep dived into the background of carnivals and carnival setup, but you can't tell me there's any difference between the people that set those up and the people that are setting up the haunted houses once a year.
Yeah, they're the same people, but the carnival has, I would say, incremental more amount of oversight and checks and
You're just saying
balances.
that because you love corn dogs and soft pretzels, and they don't serve them in haunted houses.
Haunted houses, dude, they're a fire hazard, and you could get stuck in it and burned to death. That's the real horror. And the creeps that are like volunteering to. I don't know. Yeah, I want to scare the people that get their rocks off scaring strangers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, they're probably the ones that go above werewolf, I would say.
Uh-huh. They're above werewolf.
All right.
I wish our show could just be rants.
I know. I think we could get on some good rants. I think viewer would love that.
Viewer would dig it. Viewer didn't join us today, but that's okay. Um, Al, I gotta get this kid down. He's squirming and worming. I think I heard him poop. So,
Sounds good, amigo. Get after it. Great show. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Have a great Halloween.
all right, Alvin, great show.